Welcome to Full Throttle, the Presidio Group's automotive industry podcast. I'm your host, Jason Stein, Managing Director at Presidio.
Imagine a world where you can have a platform do things through traditional means and agentic ways, off hours, support, follow-up, things that are mundane tasks that you can do. Why not use AI? As long as it's centralized in a customer card, coachable, and one voice you manage as an employee. I'm going to manage and hold that agent accountable just like I hold my sales team accountable. And if they're not working, I'll fire them.
He is sitting at the center of a revolution in how dealerships actually talk to their customers. The shift from tools people have to remember to use to AI that works in the background, whether anyone's watching or not watching. Matt Leone is CEO of DriveCentric, a CRM platform he doesn't actually call a CRM. He calls it an engagement platform, a centralized customer record meant to sit underneath every department in the store, from the sales floor to the service drive to F&I. By year's end, Matt expects more than 3,000 dealerships running at least one of DriveCentric's agentic AI tools, with 100 to 150 rooftops coming on board every month. In this episode of Full Throttle, we get into DriveCentric's newest release, the Service to Sales Agent, built on the company's native Genius AI. It mines service and repair order data to spot customers sitting on trade-in potential, turning a routine visit to the service drive into a sales opportunity. It's the first real bridge DriveCentric has built between fixed ops and the sales side of the house. And Matt says it won't be the last. We also get into why so much of the AI rolled out across dealerships over the past 2 years has not stuck around. Bolt-on tools, disconnected systems, and compliance gaps around opt-in and do not contact rules, and what Matt thinks actually separates a tool that works from one that's just a good demo. We talk about the hire of Michael Afronti, DriveCentric's new Chief Product and Business Officer out of Salesforce's Commerce Cloud world, and a dealer family man himself. And we close on mobile, compliant document exchange, and where DriveCentric is headed next as it pushes deeper into fixed operations and F&I. It's Matt Leone on Full Throttle.
Hi, this is Matt Leone, and this is Presidio's podcast, Full Throttle.
He's sitting at the center of a revolution in how dealerships actually talk to their customers, all of it using AI in the background, whether anyone is watching or not. Welcome to the program, Matt.
It's great to be here. Thanks, Jason.
Let's start with the landscape. You've described this moment in retail automotive as a true inflection point, turbulence at both the micro level and the macro level. What does that actually look like from where you sit, Matt?
Yeah, I've been in technology for almost 30 years now, and this is probably the most exciting time I've ever been in technology. The pace and speed of which new technology can be rolled out, created, innovated, the merger of product engineers to actual engineers merging to be one, keeping pace with the go-to-market of the evolving landscape, the technical landscape. You know this better than anybody. The dealer consolidation, the buy sells that are happening on the dealer side is just as disruptive on the technology side. It's an exciting time for sure to be in this industry and to be on the software side of things. And I'm having a blast doing it.
And running a CRM platform that touches nearly every department in the store. That's probably the revolutionary headline here we need to underline, right, Matt?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like a fish swimming upstream sometimes. Most people classically think of a CRM as a task management, workflow management, reporting for my sales team, maybe for my marketing team or my BDC. And I think of it as an engagement platform. If you're talking to a customer in today's society and you're engaging with them, they're in your digital showroom. They are actually engaging with you in different ways. And if you're not compliant in how you talk to those customers, if you're not responsive to those customers, and it's everywhere in your dealership, this could be your cashier, this could be your F&I manager, this could be your service advisor, this could be your sales team, your marketing team. They're all talking to customers. But historically, the CRM has always been in the sales side of the house. I'm really working hard at DriveCentric to become that engagement platform for dealership to connect through one platform, a centralized customer card of every aspect of communication. And whether it's through agentic AI, where you can coach your agents and have one voice talking to your customer that can be trained and managed just like an employee, or through traditional means with click to call, email, text, it doesn't matter. One centralized way, one centralized process, critically important. All connected back into what I like to say is your accounting back office system, your financial general ledger, your financial system of record. Let the CRM in traditional way be the engagement platform of your customer record. Two different platforms, both critically important for a dealership, especially in today's hyper-compliant, hyper-responsive, new consumer way of wanting to do things.
And Matt, there's a lot of noise right now about AI in the dealership. It comes up almost in every conversation that we have. And
Yeah.
you've been candid that a lot of it is overhyped and doesn't deliver actionable data. So what's the tell that separates a tool that's actually working from one that's just a really good demo?
Selfishly, I'm blessed. I'm DriveCentric. We have a native built product called Genius built into DriveCentric. And I think there's three flaws that have happened with the race to roll out AI and the perhaps overhypeness of these tools that came out. And then you saw a lot of cancellations, a lot of, hey, let's get out of our system. One was it was not connected to something. It was a bolt-on. Unless it's natively connected to a platform, using the data of that platform, you're already setting yourself back. Two is when that have multiple systems and you have multiple AI tools, maybe one for your voice, maybe one for your service, maybe one for your sales and your marketing, and you have multiple different tools. Now you're managing multiple different employees without one way to coach or manage them. I think that's the second flaw that we saw. And the third flaw that we saw was, in this race where you start to now get into compliance with opt-in, do not contact, things of that nature, you start to see a little bit more of leakage or gaps with some of these newer companies that sprung up and perhaps don't have the security, don't have the SOC compliant, the ISO compliance, the opt-in, opt-out compliance. And so when you put those three things together and you say, what failed? I don't think AI is going away. I believe strongly that AI is the future. However, imagine a world where you can have a platform do things through traditional means and agentic ways, off hours, support, follow up, things that are mundane tasks that you can do. Why not use AI? As long as it's centralized in a customer card, coachable, and one voice you manage as an employee. I'm going to manage and hold that agent accountable just like I hold my sales team accountable. And if they're not working, I'll fire them. But that's the three sort of things that I think was the setback. And I think now we're ready for a re-acceleration of it now that we've got our arms around it a little bit more than maybe right out of the gate a couple of years ago.
So DriveCentric news, let's get into what you're actually shipping. You just announced the sales to service agent using Genius AI to spot service customers with trade-in potential and turn repair orders into sales opportunities. Walk me through how that actually works inside a store.
Yeah, great question. So we've been sitting with most all the DMS's data for years in DriveCentric. We have the aftermarket data, we have the service data, and we have the sales data. We just weren't using anything on this outside of the sales data within our system. And when I came on board with DriveCentric, as first entry was, man, we sit on all of this great data. We can now cleanse and enrich that data. We've centralized that data. We have an identity graph where we understand at the dealer level, at the group level, who is this customer and what are they here for? Why haven't we exploited this idea that a service advisor talks to a consumer just as much as a salesperson, if not more? And the buy centers are becoming more and more popular as inventory is harder and harder to acquire, as auctions go up and down in their valuations and used car prices are all over the map. Having a buy center and being able to work the service drive was a very natural step for us as we move deeper into service and fixed operations. And so that natural step was, hey, there are a lot of bolt-ons, a lot of AI tools out there that do a little specific widget. And if our idea is the dealerships are trying to do tech consolidation, and if our dealers are trying to drive in that compliance, this is a simple agent of which we've got multiple agents now. We have a nurture agent, a prospect agent, a sales agent. The service to sales agent is just simply an extension of that to say, hey, if there's somebody that is in your service drive that perhaps has a trade-in that might be of interest to that dealership to acquire, let's natively build that into our mobile experience, into our outreach, into our compliance. And so that was a very simple agent for us to roll out, natively built within our system. And it was a stepping stone for us to say, hey, we're going to be deep into fixed operations here in 2026. Let's start bridging these two departments. And this is the bridge, right? You're starting to connect two departments now.
It's also part of a broader rollout of autonomous agents that are going to go across the platform this year. After hours lead response, proactive, database outreach, retention. How do you decide which workflows are ready to hand off to an agent versus which ones might still need a person involved?
It's a great question. And one of the things that I get most excited about is as we move deeper into fixed operations, we're also moving deeper into F&I. And there's multiple reasons why we want to be in F&I, not only the compliance and perhaps getting into things like menuing to present a different experience to a consumer, but we're always hungry to acquire a vehicle. We're always hungry for that trade-in. The natural experience for a consumer is they don't look at a dealership as anything other than a dealership or a group. They don't look at it as siloed departments, and yet dealerships operate in siloed departments, both because of the technology and because of the comp plans and everything else are just different. But as a consumer, I want options. Hey, tell me what options I have. You could trade in your car. That's one option. Perhaps you want the extended warranty, a maintenance package, or tire coverage as another option. Unless you could provide optionality to your customers, you're missing that customer experience to drive loyalty, to drive trust. And trust is such an important thing within the dealership world. Optionality helps you build trust. And so agents can help connect dots. Hey, this person has a maintenance contract. They have the tire coverage. Let's not try to sell them a new car or get them traded out. Let's make sure they're really happy with the experience there. And if they don't and they're coming in and we know the repair order is for tire damage, why not let's have a conversation with them? Challenge is those F&I managers are so busy with a stack of paper and a line out their door processing things. When do they have the time to say, you know what? Why don't we follow up with some of these declined orders or leakage that we never actually closed? And let's bring them into a different experience and let's present some options. That's where AI and agents can really be helpful. Nurture something up and then bring them into the F&I office versus perhaps into the showroom. And that's the beauty of AI. It can help you with that intelligence, that optionality, and do some really fun, exciting things for a dealership.
A couple things that people might not know. You brought in Michael Afronti as Chief Product and Business Officer earlier this year out of Salesforce's Commerce Cloud world. What did you need from outside the automotive industry that you couldn't find inside? Where does Michael add value?
Well, first of all, Michael's been a tremendous hire and big part of our team now. He's been with me at all these customers. We're going out meeting with them, with our pilots. We have a bunch of active early access customers piloting some of the newer things that we're rolling out. And so it's been great to be on the road with Michael. The funny story about Michael when I first met him was, his dad owned a Cadillac dealership and his family, and he worked there. He's very familiar with the dealer landscape and worked at dealerships. But that was a big plus for me. Did somebody have some deep knowledge of the automotive industry? And then his time at Salesforce, he worked with all the OEMs to build them a payment processing and connection at the OEM with Salesforce. Now, luckily, Salesforce is not something that's typically found in the tier 3 or dealer ecosystem, but having somebody that understands the OEMs, understands the dealer world, and understands CRM deeply, and things like payments and commerce, that's critically important. What is Salesforce known for? A partner ecosystem where they have a platform which you could build extensions off of, and then look that into a DriveCentric world is, hey, we can't be everything to everybody, but if we're the platform to run things, especially extensions like AI agents, Michael just brings a wealth of knowledge for us to be able to kind of exploit that and really power the front end of a dealership, the most important part of a dealership, the ones that talk to customers and drive revenue outcomes. That's the experience Michael brings to the table. Plus, he spent some stints of time at different areas around, mobile and different companies. And so that mobile experience, a mobile first experience is also a big plus in this industry as we get more and more into, mobile delivery and mobile people out on delivery. You have to be more mobile. And in most technology in this sector, 15, 20 years old, mobile comes as a third or fourth mindset. And we want that to be a first mindset.
Yeah, let's focus on mobile for a second because it's so influential and it's so pivotal with what will change. Give us your view of the landscape of how mobile will change and maybe how DriveCentric will change with it.
So there's two ways to look at mobile. Mobile is mobile, your cell phone and how to interact with consumers. And then there's mobile with mobile service delivery, which we could talk about service anytime you'd like to. But on the actual mobile experience, the app, we have something called a portal within DriveCentric. So instead of texting a picture of your license plate, you're out of compliance, or your driver's license. You can't send PII through a text or an email. You have to have a portal to exchange documents. So I want a credit app through the portal. I want to exchange your driver's license through the portal. Perhaps you're buying this vehicle out of state, or you're buying it and you don't want to come into the dealership. We've got a portal and a portal hub, we call it, to be able to securely exchange things with a consumer. We have our live room experience where you can get on and see the person and talk to them, interact with them with our native video. What I think of when I think of a dealership is, how do we get the dealership more and more into the mobile world with the consumer, because it's going to be harder and harder to start texting, and nobody reads emails anymore, and nobody picks up the phone as much as they used to with the spam blocking. So how do we make that connection with the dealership more and more, where I can do things through a portal and I can do things securely with somebody when and if I need to? And that's something that really DriveCentric is putting a lot of focus in on right now, is that mobile experience and driving more and more there. Perhaps we'll be rolling out something around loyalty and things of that nature, just to encourage that concept deeper, especially as we get into the variable side. We already know the total lifetime value of a customer, aftermarkets, service, and sales. We know it at the group level, at the individual level, at the household level. Can I build something around that where I can encourage a consumer to really understand, hey, this is where you want to service your vehicle. This is the dealership you want to keep coming back to, versus defecting to an independent or a repair shop down the road.
We get a lot of dealers listening to this program. If the service to sales agent works exactly as intended a year from now, and you make continuous improvements, as I know you will, what does that actually do to a dealer's fixed ops to sales pipeline?
Optionality is still huge, right? Driving loyalty within a dealership is a huge focal point for me. So, we fully anticipate by the end of the year 400 or 500, dealerships using that specific app. That'll probably put us over 3,000 dealerships in the country using one of our agentic AI agents, if not all of our agents. And then we are adding 100 to 150 dealerships every month from there. So, the depth of information we'll have, the depth of consumer behavior that we'll have, I think will be untouched, to be able to kind of understand what are the right triggers that get somebody. We have a soft message, we have a harder message. What are the A/B testing that we're doing to be able to understand at a premium, at a mass market level, what works, what's not working, and how do we tune this and educate our agents to get better and better at this? The idea, though, is yes, we want those trade-ins. Yes, we want a three-way transaction. We don't want to take away repair orders. We want to make a customer happy with, here are your options, and present a bunch of options to them. And sometimes that's not just, hey, I just want to buy your car. Sometimes those options could be, I want to put you into a different maintenance contract. Let's lower that trim level for you if that's a payment issue. Here are all the options, make that customer experience super, super beneficial to them, with the idea that if we now move further and further into fixed operations, now we really want to drive more ROs, more into the funnel, and we keep those customers coming back, is the connection point that we want to do. But the most important thing is, if you think about a buy center, or you think about connecting two departments, they traditionally had two different systems and two different, vendors. If we can connect those into one centralized customer card where they can see the entire history and transaction of every touch point with that customer, summarize it through AI to give me a little cheat sheet, great. We even have a voice agent called Genius Voice Assist that says, hey, I'm about to meet with this person. I'm driving into work. Tell me the 4 appointments I have. Give me a little snippet of each one of it. It's basically Siri talking to you to tell you, I'm going to help you throughout your day and be your little assistant to coach you throughout this process. Whether you want to hear it on a voice, or you just want to read it on a mobile device, or sit down in front of a desktop, we present all those 3 options to you.
If I'm a dealer principal with one budget line to spend on technology over the course of the next 12 months, what's the argument for spending it with DriveCentric?
Yeah. When I think about where DriveCentric's headed, and typically you see this a lot in this industry, is companies get acquired. Companies then start to stop innovating, cut back on support. With DriveCentric, we're extending our support hours. We're adding in, what we call pods with our support team. Our emphasis is we want to provide you world-class support to run your dealership. We want to make sure that we're there within 1 second response with a human, and that's our goal. Be under 1 second with a response from a human, no matter what dealership you are and what time of hours you're working, including the weekends. That's the strive goal that we have within Drive. But more importantly, it is, if I'm going to consolidate down my tech stack, usually what we find with almost any dealership coming on DriveCentric is, I'm not just eliminating a CRM. I'm eliminating 5 or 6 different technologies across my dealership. And although DriveCentric might appear as, hey, that's an expensive solution, you are buying a platform. And when you add up all the technology you're consolidating, it's actually going to probably save you money at the right off the bat. But beyond that is, okay, what kind of better customer experience am I driving? If I can coach my agents, if I have a performance agent to coach my humans and make them better, those are all native features that we provide within DriveCentric. Now, all of a sudden, I'm driving efficiency, I'm driving loyalty, I'm driving retention, I'm connecting departments. I've never had technology to be able to do that for me before. That ROI is hard to measure, but that ROI is where a lot of dealerships see the future of what DriveCentric's doing, staying innovative, investing in the business. We're probably rolling out a new agent about every 30 days, and you'll keep up with that pace. We just came off of our user conference called DC20, and it's amazing to me. The hardest thing I have as a CEO is to ensure our customers and our commercial teams understand all the new features we've rolled out. At this event, people are blown away by stuff we rolled out 6 months ago. And I'm like, man, I'm already here. And, I'm trying to educate you on stuff from 6 months ago. And that's the funnest part of your first question. It's a great time to be in technology.
Yeah, indeed. Final one. What's the one thing about AI and dealership technology that a lot of people get wrong? What is it that maybe inside the industry, outside the industry, that they don't understand about how AI is going to change dealership technology?
Yeah. A lot of times software vendors look at it as, how can I get more efficient and reduce my labor? How can I get more efficient with reducing my support through AI and things of that nature? I look at AI as, what can we provide in the product to make the product better? How do we speed up our innovation of our product? And in fact, we keep hiring within DriveCentric because everything goes back into the product. If a dealership has the same lens or eyes, which is, how do I elevate my team? How do I elevate my departments to be able to look at things? How do I elevate my group to be able to look at things cross group? There was a dealer group that I was just working with in an early access out in California in one of our new products, a service CRM. And they were really excited because we could tie together, hey, I know you had this many visitors to your website. This is how many cross-shopped across your different dealerships. These are how many bought a car from you last year that came back and serviced. They just never had that visibility before. And now we can show the different touch points of engagement across a group at a store level. That's only capable through some very intelligent AI and tools behind the scenes to be able to extrapolate that quickly, present it, and do something with that data. That's the power of AI. It is not a widget. And a lot of people think of it as, I need this widget. I need to replace my receptionist with a voice person, or I need to be able to kind of have an automated email campaign that goes out. I mean, that was great AI 3-4 years ago, but if you really understand where it's going, we want to build a platform in which you could build your extensions on. Perhaps you have some miscellaneous tasks within your dealership. Perhaps there's some consolidation of data that you want to be able to aggregate up. That's where AI can be just immensely helpful for you.
He is, and DriveCentric is, the talk of the industry. I have to tell you, everywhere I go, they're either talking about Matt or they're talking about DC. He'll also be on stage October 14th in Denver at Presidio's 4th Annual Auto Technology Summit, where innovation meets capital. More information at thepresidiogroup.com. Matt, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you in Denver.
Me as well. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you. That's this episode of Full Throttle. Special thanks to my guest, Matt Leone, CEO of DriveCentric. Matt will also be on stage October 14th in Denver at Presidio's 4th Annual Auto Technology Summit, where innovation meets capital. For more information, go to thepresidiogroup.com. Thank you for listening to Full Throttle. For a library of these episodes with industry leaders, go to thepresidiogroup.com. You can also find a library of these shows on the Presidio Group's YouTube channel. I'm your host, Jason Stein. We'll talk to you again next time.